So does it make any sense to buy a project boat? The answer to that is a big fat no. But it's also a big fat maybe. And to some extent, I would also say it's a definite yes. So yeah, stick around and I'll tell you more of my thoughts about the matter. Here we are. A little bit behind on my episodes now. I think it's been 3 weeks since I last posted something, and it might take another week before I get this out. Work has gotten a little bit in my way, so I don't have quite as much time off right now. I could complain to HR about that, but I am the HR manager and I know him very well, and I don't think he'll take my complaint very seriously, so I'll just have to deal with it for now. But that's fun too. I'm not complaining. Right now I am installing a new bilge pump. I've just glued down the holder for it, the bracket for it, with epoxy. I could not get screws in there. I couldn't drill in the bottom of the bilge. I don't know what kind of epoxy they've used there, but it's like rock. I broke 2 drill bits trying to get some lead holes for the screws to screw the bracket down, but I just couldn't do it. So if you can't join them, if you can't beat them, join them. So I just epoxied the whole thing down. Hopefully I won't have to replace it in my lifetime. So yeah, I'm gonna wire that up now. I have led all the wires up to the switchboard. I'm gonna connect those now. And then I'm gonna continue to clean up a little bit more here. I have done a little bit already now that I have a container that is open in the marina, because they closed the container during winter, but it's open now. And then I have a stack of goodies behind me right there with a new chart plotter, new VHF. The VHF has an AIS receiver, but not transceiver. That ended up being a little bit too expensive right now, even though I would have liked to have one, as I'll probably be sailing quite a bit alone as well. I have a new water pump for the freshwater system. I have a multifunction color instrument display 4.1 inch i70s, which shows depth and speed and wind and everything. So it's going to install that out in the cockpit along with the chart plotter. The new wind transducer. I'll have to install in the mast sometime this summer when I maybe take the mast down, or I'll climb up there, or I don't know. I won't do it now because it's still winter outside. But I could connect and hook up everything else. Yeah, and then I need to make the cushions for the saloon and make some cushions for the V-berth, and hopefully it'll be warm enough soon so I can continue to finish up the varnishing and painting inside. But first, I'm gonna hook up the bilge pump. I've already had 3 cups of coffee, so I'm all good, I'm all set. And yeah, let's get connecting. Let's connect. All right, I'll see you later. Okay, so that's the bilge pump installed. If you see right down there, everything is hooked up and all the pipe work has been done. So that's all set. So the next step now is to actually finish installing, like in the sink here, there's no drain. It's very dark, but I put a new seacock in when I bought the boat. So I'm going to do all the hoses for that so I can actually use the sink and pour things into it. So that'll be nice. So, but yeah, question is whether does it make any sense? Is it worth it to buy a project boat? And I guess we have to define the word worth then, I guess, first before we can answer that question. One thing is the financial side of it. And I would say that in most cases, it does not make any sense to buy a project boat and think that that's going to be a cheap way to get into it. But then again, it also sort of depends on your ambitions. If your ambition is to get a boat up to a normal level of equipment and standards and everything as you will find on the used market, then you'll probably be better off buying a boat that's already equipped with most of the gadgets and not necessarily all the bells and whistles, but that's in decent condition. I could have done the same thing. I could have, I bought this boat with the money I had available at the time. I could have probably waited a year or two and saved up a little bit more and gotten a similar boat. That would be more expensive, of course, but then I wouldn't need a full redo as I'm doing right now. Boat equipment is ridiculously expensive. Everything, and this boat is pretty much stripped down. I mean, whatever was in here was original from the 1980s. I mean, even the VHF was old, with a phone kind of thing that didn't work. There was no chart plotter. Pretty much everything was had to be ripped out and installed new stuff. It didn't have a fridge, didn't have an anchor windlass. Most of it wasn't there. So why did I do it then? My goal, I figured that what I bought this boat for and the difference between that and what a similar boat in a fairly good condition is sold for in the market, that's sort of where I'm trying to stay at. So I'm not trying not to spend more money. Then I can sell it again and not lose too much money at least. But then there's some really important considerations to make when you make a call like that, and that is all the really expensive stuff must be okay, that must be in order. Meaning that in this boat, having been unused and left on land for 13 years, it still have been exposed to the weather and wear and tear, but everything's structural, the whole hull is solid, there's no cracks, there's no damages, there's nothing, so the hull itself is in perfect mint condition. So basically it's just the look of things, and a lot of the wood that had been damp and mold and whatnot, more cosmetic things that definitely needed a big lift up, which isn't too expensive, but everything structural was fine. Mind you, one thing is that if I buy a new engine and new sails, I would probably already have eaten up the difference between what I bought this boat for and what I can sell her for. So that's why I'm desperately trying to keep this engine alive, because that's a huge dent in the budget. That would cost me about $12,000 to replace that engine if I bought a new one, and that's with me doing the work myself. And of course it would be even a whole lot more expensive if I got someone else to do it. Which brings me into the other topic, which is the labor cost. I mean, I changed the sail drive diaphragm on the diaphragm, the rubber thing myself. The parts itself is $300. But if I was going to get someone else to do that job for me, it would cost me about $2,000 or more than that, $2,200 or so. So of course you need to make sure that you have either the skills to do it, or that you feel confident that you can gain those skills and get those skills and learn and feel fairly handy about it. And of course the sales will also pull me back $7,000, $8,000 probably, and that's fairly cheap sales. So that will also make a huge dent. The sales I will have to replace at some point. So I'll probably exceed my goal of like staying within what I can sell the boat for, but I'm trying to like keep within reason of it. And also I'm trying to be very smart about every purchase I make for the boat. I purchased a whole lot. I'm to purchase like a toilet, chart plotter, water pump, windlass, fridge, new stove, new batteries, and all of the electrical system. Probably more about a new Dodger, a new lacy bag for the mainsail. But I'm trying to be very smart about how I make those purchases. I'm constantly following all the marine shops offers at all times, so pretty much everything except for the Dodger and the lacy bag or the lacy stack I bought on sale. I just bought yesterday a fridge unit for the boat, and that was almost half the price. It was 45% discount, which saved me about $600. I bought quite a lot of the stuff used on the used market. I'm waiting for a water heater to arrive now, which is, I don't know the age of it, but they've just replaced both the AC heater part of it and also the heat exchange for the coolant water. So that's basically brand new. I mean, it's stainless steel on the inside, so that's perfectly fine. Which again, like, saved me a lot of money. I bought a used windlass, chain, and everything else I bought either on sale or through some contacts, or I'm trying to be really smart about that. But in general, I would say that it does not make financial sense to buy a total redo project boat and think that that's going to be a lot cheaper than waiting and buying something that is in reasonable shape. But, however, there are examples of, and you can see them on YouTube too. I mean, look at Wind Hippie Sailing, that like goes by with the very minimum base of equipment and everything, and she's got a cheap ticket and she's out sailing. She's in the Pacific right now while I'm sitting here in Norway and freezing my off. So of course it is possible, but then you'll have to let go of some of the conveniences that most of us would like a fridge or hot water or whatever. Safety, of course, should always come first. I will also have to replace the standing rigging on this boat probably at some point, which is also a huge expense. So that's one of the things I'm not going to do myself, because I don't have the competency to do it and I don't have the tools to do something like that. So that is also making a big dent in the budget at some point. So financially, probably not a good idea to buy a project boat. Tip, I needed 1 inch on the threads and 1 1/4 where I'm going to connect the hose. I've used True Design through hulls. True Design doesn't have that combination, but you can always still use like brass fittings even though you have True Design. So I'm going to mix it up. This fits directly on the C-cup from True Design, and this end will fit on the hose that I have from the sink into the outlet. So okay, so I have a sink now that is operable. So so it might not make any sense to get a project boat for financial reasons, or it might. I think the main issue is a lot of people are a little bit too naive in what it takes to get an old cheap boat sailing. There is, as they say, there is nothing more expensive than a cheap sailboat. So just don't be too naive, and do the calculations thoroughly before you embark on a mission, and know your limits. I mean, know your what you're capable of doing and the amount of time you have. But why do I still think it's worth it to do it then? Because I have embarked on a journey like this, and with all the comprehensive work that is involved. And that is basically because there's another way to define like something's worth. I love sailboats. I love puttering things. I have built a couple of houses. I built a couple of cabins. I have been restoring old cars. So I really enjoy like puttering and fixing things and putting things back together and make them look nice. And that's worth a whole lot too. But I also love sailing, so of course I do get a little bit impatient in times and think that, oh, I just want to go sailing, I just want to be out there. And now the ice is broken in the marina where the boat is at, so I actually could have been able to go out now, but the boat isn't quite ready. So I undertook this project, not being naive, maybe a little bit naive about how much time, financial wise, I think I'm pretty much dead on. But of course, everything takes more time than you think. And the thing about boats is that when you start a job and you dismantle something, then you always end up getting like 4 more jobs, because then you see that, oh, here's something else I need to take care of. But yeah, all in all, I'm doing this because it's fun, I enjoy it, and I think it'll be very nice and I'll enjoy it even more when I take her out sailing, and I know that I know this boat inside out, and everything I see is something that I have done. I have accomplished something. I'm an office worker. I enjoy using my hands, and it's something that takes my mind off everything else in life. So if you're like me, enjoy doing labor, doing the work, using your hands and everything, then it might make perfect sense to embark on a journey like this. So I say go for it. But just don't be too naive about the financial side of it, and don't be too naive about the money involved. And if you're not 100% certain you have enough competency to make a proper assessment of the actual state of the boat, and then I'm talking about the structural side that is really important. If this boat had been grounded and there was a huge damage to the stringers and the keel and everything, I would have backed away. That's just not something I probably could, but I mean that is just way too involved and would take way too much time and be way too expensive. So know what you're getting into, and if you don't, get someone to help you and make that assessment and how much work it actually entails. All right, so I have a sink that works now. The next step is to get this bad boy installed. That is the new water pump with an accumulator tank. Hopefully I'll be able to fit that right by the put that by the or by the water tank in front of the boat by the V-berth. Okay, so first step on the agenda is to get rid of the old one, and hopefully I'll find room to fit the new one just behind that old transducer there. So while I wait for the wood to dry, I'm going to screw down the new pump for the water. I'm going to install a little bit extra light over the chart table. That will also double as a reading light when you're sitting in the berth right there, or in the saloon on the port side right there. So I'm going to do that while I wait for the epoxy to dry. There we go. So that's the reading light installed, which is very nice. And of course you can go all red. I have an old man's eyes, so I need all the light I can get. Okay, so the new water pump and accumulator tank is all screwed down and fastened. It could have been a smart idea to put some rubber gasket or something down underneath where I screwed it down, because it vibrates quite a lot. So that would help dampen the sound a little bit, but I'm going to put a sound mat on the lid itself, so hopefully it won't be too bad. The disadvantage of having it here in the V-berth, of course, is if someone is sleeping up here, they'll hear it very well when the pump goes. So, but I mean, that's sort of a problem anywhere in the boat, really. Okay, so I have concluded that buying a project boat is financially maybe not necessarily smart, at least. But if you want it as a hobby and you enjoy doing the work, it might be a good idea. One thing, like for this project too, I am not trying to make everything 100% perfect. I want to have the boat safe. I want to have it comfortable. I want to have it reliable. But everything doesn't need to be like spick span, super shiny, perfect in every way, like it just came out of the boat builders. So I'm going to make all the cushions, for example, myself, and I will not be able to make it like perfect. There might be a little bit of wrinkles here and there, but that's just fine. Some of the paintwork isn't 100%. I haven't like dismantled the whole boat to get all the pipes and wires and stuff like through where it can't be seen at all. So I mean, that's also part of the equation, like how perfect do you want to make it? I mean, if you're super pedantic and want it to be like really 100% perfect, that will take even more work and probably also more expenses. So yeah, but I mean, if you're motivated for it, go for it. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun thing to do, and there's a huge community out there, both on YouTube and on Facebook and many other places where you can get a lot of great advice and help along the way. And of course, as I said too, I mean, one of the advantages of doing it is that you know every corner of the boat, like you know everything about it. So if something fails, it'll take you a whole lot shorter time to find the issue. So there's some advantages to it as well. Okay, well, now the water pump is installed. I need to go and buy some more hose. I'm going to replace all the hoses because they've been sitting for a long time and I don't know what kind of gunk and life is living in there. So I'm going to get all new hoses and hook that up, and then I need to wire up the water pump, and then that's all set. So yeah, next episode will probably be a lot of electronics. I need to install the new VHF, the new chart plotter, and stuff like that. And I still need to finish the bathroom. Hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer soon, so I can be out in the garage sanding down some of the, like the table and some of the interior stuff that I have lying around there. and hopefully it'll also be warm enough soon so I can actually do some work outside. Yeah, so we'll see. We're mid-March now. Norway is not the country for people who love to sail. It's a very long winter. I guess that's it for now. I'll see you later. And no, wait. If you have any comments about like what I've just been discussing in this episode about like buying a project boat, have any experiences, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, please leave a comment about it. I mean, there's several people who will read them too and might get even more insight and maybe help them along the way in making the right decision. So please share. Anything really. And of course, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and have a very nice day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.